So I weathered the Mark II Iron Man helmet and the suit. So let's talk about it. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be talking about weathering my Mark II Iron Man suit. Now, I will first of all say, this is more just me showing you what I did, talking about what I did, not really a whole demonstration on how you weather your props, suits and helmets. I'll make a later video on about that, because I still am taking a bunch of techniques, learning all about this sort of stuff. Sort of never ending. But what I will do is mention how I did this exact sort of paint job, just in a very brief details, and then show you sort of the tips and tricks that I did into doing something like this. Now you can see this is the helmet. It was pretty good. I love it. And then it's along with the rest of the suit. I have suit parts there, there, and there. They're everywhere. So the first thing we're going to do is sort of go and explain the backstory of this. So, as you know from the intro, I'm going to be weathering my Mark II Iron Man suit. I mean, this one. Yes, I'm a little bit worried to do this, but I've done it before. I've weathered things like this before with Alumoluster, some oil paints, naphtha, and steel wool. So, I feel pretty comfortable in doing this. Now, I will say, first off, this is sort of a tutorial, but not really at the same time, because this was learnt from a course by Henry Creations, which I'll leave a link for that course down in the description, that I don't want to give away too much information. Now, obviously, this is one part of weathering Alumoluster or aluminium products, where in the course he's got things with corroding metals, rust, oxidized, all these sorts of other things as well. So it's not just this one in the course. So, yeah. But other than that, we're going to be going home head to toe of this suit. I'm just going to be taking this really slow in parts, doing different techniques with some steel wool over the naphtha and naphtha over the steel wool and all these sorts of other things, which I'll explain a little bit later. This is going to take a little while. I will say the naphtha takes a little bit of time to dry, so I'm making sure I'm doing this enough time in advance. And when I say enough time in advance, I mean a week before I need to finish it. But that's right. I'm not worried as of yet, but the first thing we're going to do is go into the garage, we're going to figure out what we're using, and get started. Alright, so let's talk about the weathering. Now, for this, I've already gone through it, I've done a couple pieces, I've done both shoulders, both biceps, some of the forearm pieces. I'm slowly working through them. So, as you can see here, this is the bicep. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Like, I'm not going over the top, like battle damaged, like holes and gunshots and all that sort of stuff. I just wanted it to look like a tarnished metal. Now, the reason behind this is that I did this Mark II not really understanding paint. I'd never used an HVLP gun before. I painted it the night before the con, meaning it never really had any clear coat or protective film over it for the convention, meaning I get these different shades through it that is where the Alumoluster had rubbed off, and then I re-Alumolustered it and then put new clear coat over it. I just am not really fully happy on how it looks. Now, if I was to do this suit again, I probably wouldn't battle damage it. I would do maybe a stippling effect just around some of the edges and grime it up, but not do as much as I'm doing currently. Now, the reason I am doing this is because, like I said, these weird splotches and patches I have and the scratches in it, in the paint, and there are some layer lines and a lot of runs. When I was doing this HVLPing at the start, I didn't really understand how this gloss black worked because it's a 4:1 ratio, meaning it's sort of just one coat and one coat only. Don't try and do two or it'll mix weird. So then I ended up getting a lot of runs and dribbles through the clear coat and the black, which I've actually just left. I didn't know how to remove them. I thought once they're there, they're there. Obviously now come a year later, I know how to remove them and it's super easy. So in that process of mind, I thought we're just going to weather the suit. Now, the first thing I'm going to start off by doing is going through with some steel wool. Now, this steel wool is going to make it look like an, I don't remember what it's called. It's like a brushed sort of metal look. So usually that should go on the gloss black and through that clear coat, destroy that so that then the Alumoluster sits in the channels and stuff. But obviously I didn't do that when I started. So it's just going over the top. And then also going through with some black and some brown oil paints. These are the main two that I'm using. I may throw in there just a little bit of like a burnt yellow. That burnt yellow just sort of adds a little bit of detail around the back of these vents especially, which I really like. And just sort of areas where it may not be just dirt and grime, there may be something else. So there's that as well. You could also use some green as well. I just feel like the Mark II probably doesn't fit green. Yeah. And then just going through with some naphtha. This stuff is going to make the oil paint dry a little bit faster. And it's also going to allow us to manipulate things, make it runny, make it a liquid. Because oil and water, well, they don't mix. But oil, paints, and naphtha do mix. Now, the reason I do keep calling this naphtha and not shellite is because it's the same thing. Here in Australia, there's an importing law that we can't get naphtha in here, yet it's the exact same as whatever this stuff is. So if there is problems with you not receiving naphtha in your country, there's other alternatives as well. You just have to look at what products are in the product. I just asked ChatGPT, to be honest. And then the other little detail that I'm going through and doing is just flicking on some naphtha. Now, this is just by taking a really cheap paintbrush, pulling the bristles back and letting it flick. It's as simple as that. And that mixes with some of the oil paints that you put over the top. And then you get this really cool, like, speckled, like, clean and dark areas. And I really, really like it. Only problem I'm finding is that it dries out really quick. And this whole piece that I had it over, I can't see them anymore. But that's really as simple as it's going to be. There's nothing fancy in this. I don't want to go over the top. As I'm saying, like, these shins, I might a little bit, just because they are being redone. We're fixing the files up. The motorization in here, I never got around to, and it's really hard to as well in this file set. But that's alright. I'm not too worried at all. We're just going to be doing some weathering, and then sort of test fitting the whole thing together and seeing what it looks like. And I'm very excited, because I have a convention in a week. And yeah, this needs to be done, but it'll look cool. So let's just continue on. We'll just have some nice time lapses. I don't really know how else to fill this video. I just wanted to show that this is what I'm doing. This is my methods. Now, if you do also want to go into more detail, maybe making like a coppered anodizing metal in the corners, or adding cool little other alcohol links or speckled effects, I will leave a link down in the description for the course that I learned this from. This is one of about 15 different painting techniques in this one course, all made by Henry Creations. This is truly an incredible course. I would definitely recommend spending the money on how to do this. It teaches you the really good blacks, maybe some tips and tricks with your clear coat, how to spray your Lumiluster really well for this sort of stuff. Anodized metals, oxidized metals, all those sorts of really cool techniques he'll explain in the video. Now, this is not a paid promotion. I'm not being paid to do any of this. I just generally love the course because it shows you how you can turn your props from something super boring to something really exciting. So, less time of me chatting, more time of time-lapse and music. So, the whole suit's done. There's not really much else to do. It's a bit of a weird outro. But obviously you can see, like, as you saw in the start of the video, the helmet looks amazing. Every other little part, detail. Like, just for example, these biceps and shoulders look super good. Like, those sorts of little details of just, obviously a pristine suit. You go, that's nice. But the paint job I did was just a little bit off. I didn't love it. So, that's alright. I've learned from those mistakes, but we've done some amazing weathering. So I guess some B-roll of some parts. But other than that, I will see you all next week where we are making a wasp helmet with a Lumiluster and gunmetals and that sort of fun stuff. So, bye.